Our world is filled with strange things, but ever since the invention of cameras, people have been catching these mysteries on film. Usually, we are not supposed to see these things. However, in today's video, we'll show you just how cameras have broken that rule with 20 captures that no one was supposed to see. Be advised, though, these are not for the faint-hearted. 20. Baby Godzilla. The ocean is home to many terrifying creatures. Some of them we see very often, and some we only get to see once in a lifetime. With a camera at hand, the odds of seeing these scary sea creatures are getting better by the day, and on April 12, 2016, luck shone on this diver who captured one that looked just like the mini version of Godzilla. According to the backstory, the diver was scouting parts of the Galapagos Islands when the creature suddenly appeared. At first, he couldn't tell what it was, only that it resembled Godzilla and was feeding on algae found on rock surfaces. Later, other marine biologists identified it as a marine iguana. In case you don't know, these iguanas are the only underwater lizards in the world today. As you can see, they feed on algae and seaweed using their razor-sharp teeth while hanging on rocks with their heavily clawed limbs. These prevent them from being washed away by the water current. Marine iguanas are pretty rare, so seeing one alive like this is truly a privilege thanks to cameras. 19. A modern-day titanoboa. We all consider titanoboas as creatures of myth because they were gigantic snakes who walked the earth with the dinosaurs. And like the dinosaurs, none exist anymore. Today, we only have anacondas and pythons to remind us of how big these titanoboas used to be. In 2010, some construction workers stumbled across a giant anaconda while building some structures in the cave of Altamira. According to the narration, the workers started their job with a controlled explosion. After a while, they saw the anaconda crawl out of its hole, wounded by the afterblast. At 33 feet long and 462 pounds, there's no other way to say it. That anaconda was massive, and its only semblance was the extinct titanoboas. Although compared to titanoboas, this anaconda is still a baby. But then, it is still one of the largest anacondas ever captured, dead or alive. Because of that, the workers didn't want to take any chances, so they chained the animal to a crane to ensure their safety. Of course, some zoologists questioned this response and noted that the workers probably killed the snake while making way for their construction. But whatever the case may be, this discovery was massive nonetheless. 18. The megalodon. Reaching lengths of up to 70 feet with an estimated maximum weight of over 60 tons, the megalodons were once the largest predators in Earth's history. During their times, no other animal was bold enough to challenge or go fin-to-fin with them. For that reason, they were always the apex predator and always atop the food chain. Although, millions of years ago, they were wiped out by the great white sharks who fed mostly on their babies. So, finding a living and breathing megalodon today will be next to impossible, right? Well, get into the time machine and let's dial Brazil, November 20th, 2012. On that day, a Brazilian Coast Guard caught a monstrous fish on camera while attempting a rescue at sea. At first, no one noticed the giant shadow swimming in the water. But when they reviewed the video, what they saw shocked them and the entire world. Although you may not see it clearly, the shadow revealed the outline of a fish that was more than 60 feet long. Of course, this could have simply been a whale or a whale shark. But here's the problem. Whale sharks don't swim anywhere in Brazil. So what then is it? 17. Dobby the Elf. Let's take a break from mundane things for now and venture into the paranormal world a little. To do that, let's show you CCTV footage uploaded in June 2016. That fateful night, everything was normal for Vivian Gomez, the video's original uploader. Suddenly, she felt something growling at her front door. With the sound, she knew the animal was not the run-of-the-mill dog or cat that often disturbs her balcony. So she went looking at the security camera for confirmation. As unbelievable as it seemed, the footage revealed a strange creature also moving bizarrely. Due to its resemblance to a beloved Harry Potter character, the video has since been dubbed the Dobby video. However, many doubt the authenticity and suggest that the creature was probably a kid wearing underwear on his head and acting all goofy. In fact, Vivian has a son named Bobby who was as tall and as thin as the creature. But when interviewed by a local news crew, Bobby denied being the creature and said he was with his mom when the video was captured, an alibi which his mom confirmed. So, with that explanation out of the way, the mystery remained unsolved to date. 16. Moving swing. Playgrounds are places of fun and shouldn't really give people the creeps. But somewhere in Rhode Island, this man who decided to take his kids out for a swing stumbled across something quite disturbing in the playground. According to Scott Denton, the man you see in the video, the weather wasn't exactly looking good. So he and his kids decided to wait in the car, but the clouds didn't clear up. As they were about to leave, they saw something quite odd. One of the swings began to move by itself. Now, we already know that the weather was bad, so it could be the wind causing this, right? Well, that's a perfectly reasonable explanation, but it has one flaw. You see, the other swings in the set were not moving, so it couldn't have been the wind at all. According to some people, ghosts often haunt the playground to scare others away when something terrible happens in the place. We can only hope that wasn't the case here. 15. Men in Black. You guys remember the Men in Black? Yes, the movie, but what if you're told they probably exist in real life? Well, this driver stumbled across a weird scene as he drove down a deserted road at night. As you see in the dash cam footage, he saw a strange-looking man dressed in a full tuxedo carrying an umbrella and a briefcase, the same way the MIBs in the movie used to carry them. Once the man noticed he'd been discovered, he ran over to his friend, and they both ran into the bush where others like them were already waiting. From afar, the driver also saw others signaling with a flare, and that's all about everything the video tells us. So, the question is now about whether this is real or not. Well, this video has actually been proven as a hoax, and it was a short movie shot during a music trailer some time back. In fact, our research team found out that it was professionally directed as a Radiohead ad. But that doesn't make this video any less creepy. Without the internet and camera, we wouldn't have seen it in the first place. 14. The Lonely Stairs. When you find an item in the middle of the woods, you next think about its purpose and who the owner might be. Nobody has answered that question, and that makes another mystery to discuss on today's list. As for this staircase, people worldwide often report seeing stairs in the middle of the woods with no specific purpose. In fact, some of those stairs have no buildings or structures attached to them, and they rarely work as a path or other things. The shapes, the sizes, and the conditions often vary as well. For some of those staircases, people believe they are relics of ancient structures and roads built centuries and millennia ago. But most people disagree because some of those stairs are still in such good condition that they couldn't have been part of an entire building or structure. Gradually, words about these stairs got out, and it's freaking people out. What do you think? 13. Flying orbs. Rhonda, a homeowner in Prince George's County in Maryland, set up a trail cam near her home, and on one Saturday night, the camera picked up this footage. As you can see, the video shows 6 connected orbs moving back and forth around the left area of the frame. As the orbs move up, they become larger and visible for a while before finally whooshing off the camera. At first, Rhonda thought little of the incident until she aired the footage online. She realized that another similar occurrence had happened in Florida, where another homeowner captured similar orbs in her backyard. Of course, these things are a little too unnatural, but hey, let's slow down a bit because the stories of UFOs have gained more trance with time. So, we wouldn't want to make any unconfirmed declarations here. However, Rhonda and the other homeowner have submitted their footage to the police. So let's wait until they conclude and hear the outcome of the investigation. 12. A complete rainbow. This video was recorded on July 11th, 2017, and what you're looking at is a rainbow that forms a complete circle. While this might sound rare and paranormal, this phenomenon is actually very common. So let's explain. You see, rainbows are some of the most spectacular phenomena in nature. They are formed by the reflection, refraction, and dispersion of light in water droplets, resulting in a spectrum of light appearing in the sky. This light spectrum can take the form of a multicolored circular arc or part of a circle. And if you're observant, you'll realize that rainbows always appear in the section of sky directly opposite the sun. From the ground, we only see half or a part of the entire rainbow that's centered on a line from the sun to our eyes. To see the full, you'll need to be up high in a plane of skyscrapers we see in this video. 11. The shoes of the Titanic dead. We've all heard what happened to the Titanic about 100 years ago, so it's only natural for us to believe that everything left from the Titanic should have withered away. Well, 5 years ago, National Geographic launched an exploration and a documentary to mark the centennial anniversary of the Titanic. To do this, they sent a team of divers to film the Titanic shipwreck. Some of them even developed an application to virtually drain the Titanic on a computer system so as to prepare them for what they might find. What they found at the bottom of the sea, however, shocked them a great deal. There, they found mirrors and dozens of shoes all around the Titanic shipwreck. Normally, this shouldn't have surprised anybody because debris washed from other parts of the ocean often collects around shipwrecks since the wrecks behave as some kind of stopover. But the thing is, each pair of shoes found once belonged to a passenger aboard the Titanic. That means their skeleton made it to the bottom of the sea. Within 100 years, the skeletons faded, but the shoes, which were usually treated with tannic acid at the time, stood there unwavered. 10. The GoPro sperm whale in Mauritius. Mauritius is home to many species of whales, and the sperm whale is one of them. Naturally, these whales measure up to 49 feet, weigh 50 tons, and that makes them one of the biggest whales out there. But two things make them different. For one, sperm whales have the largest brains among whales. Then again, they are deep-sea divers. On normal days, these behemoth creatures can dive up to 6,600 feet below the sea and can survive almost 2 hours underwater. Because of this habit, sperm whales are a rare find above the sea, and only a few divers have actually seen them in their natural habitat. However, on July 2, 2020, a diver named Liam Ballfish found a pod of sperm whales while cruising off the coast of Mauritius. At first, Liam thought he was seeing another species of whale. But on coming close, he realized the creature he found was indeed a sperm whale, and he had his GoPro camera with him. Without hesitation, Liam uploaded his rare find, and he received a GoPro award for it. 9. Glass frogs. After toiling for 5 years in the wilderness of the cloud forest in Brazil, a team of scientists discovered 7 species of frogs. Among these frogs, one species of frog stood out because they don't have the same coloration that's common to most frogs. Rather, these frogs had a weird, slimy green color. But then, you can see through their skins and locate the different organs that lie within their bellies. At first, this discovery puzzled the scientists because no one knew why the frogs developed in this manner, but later, they realized the frogs use their unique adaptation for blending with their environment. During the day, the frogs use their transparent body to stay camouflaged on the undersides of the leaves. That way, their predators will find it difficult to see these cute creatures. But while they might look cute and cuddly, male glass frogs are quite territorial. If they see other males on their turf, they fiercely grapple them, and a bloodbath may ensue. 8. Supernatural catch. When we do something over and over, we get so used to it that we do it without even thinking about it. Although sometimes the repetitive sense of the job can make some of us complacent and lackluster that we start losing our knacks for the job and lowering the productivity of our employers. For this forklift operator, though, this video shows he still has what it takes to keep his job. In the video, we see how the operator was loading a pallet of empty kegs into the back of a truck. All of a sudden, one of the kegs began to wobble. But before it could land, the worker awoke his inner ninja and did something unthinkable. As you can see, he grabbed the keg with one of his hands as he managed to keep his other hand on the steering. From this, we can conclude 2 things. It's either the keg was empty or perhaps this worker was a superhuman. Either way, we wouldn't have seen this employee of the year if not for the CCTV camera nearby. 7. Emperor Dumbo. Emperor Dumbo is not the name of a Chinese king of the Ming dynasty. Rather, it's the name of the deepest living octopuses known to man. In short, we know them as Dumbo octopuses, and they live about 13,000 feet below the water surface. On average, they grow about 8 inches long, and they have 2 large fins on either side of their mantle. These fins protrude like ears, and that's why many people call them Dumbo. With their small size, everything about Dumbo octopuses is minuscule. From their arms to their bell bodies, these creatures feel like miniature umbrellas. When they blow out their ear-like fins, these octopuses appear to be very cute. For that reason, many scientists describe them to be the cutest octopuses in the world. When they are not hovering above the ocean floor, these creatures feed on snails, worms, and other creatures in the sea. To feed, they use a kind of slender protrusions on their suckers called cirri. For now, we still know very little about how these animals use their cirri, but maybe we can ask iPhone users. 6. The two-headed bats. By now, you should have figured out that wildlife in Brazil isn't always sunshine and kitties. In 2001, a young Brazilian man proved this yet again. According to the report, this unnamed man went for a walk in a bush somewhere in southeastern Brazil. Midway on his journey, he stumbled across a double-headed bat. Luckily for him, and unluckily for the bats were already dead before he found them lying under a mango tree. But that wasn't enough to keep him from being scared and curious at the same time, because bats have these creepy stories that send shivers down people's spines. So he called in zoologists from the Federal Rural University of Rio de Janeiro. When they got there, the experts confirmed that truly the bats found did have 2 heads. In fact, they also had 2 bodies and a single backbone, showing that the bats were actually conjoined twins. According to them, the bats didn't make it for more than a few hours after birth because they still had their placenta attached. Now, seeing a 2-headed animal might sound strange, but this isn't the first time. For bats, though, this 2001 discovery makes the 3rd time ever. 5. The shape-shifting whalefish. On August 12, 2021, a group of explorers at Monterey Bay in California sent a robotic vehicle underwater. At about 6,600 feet, a strange creature swam past the vehicle. According to the explorers, the creature appeared to be bright orange and had structures similar to that of a fish. But at first, no one could tell what it was. So the creature soon became the subject of debate. However, before the experts could trash out anything, they realized the fish had 2 different appearances. At first, it appeared with tape tails during its larva stage. After a while, it graduates into a form with a big nose and finally becomes adult. The female whalefish lose their eye lenses and their ability to form images. To see, these adult whalefish have a system of pressure-sensing pores all over their head and body. With these pores, they detect the vibration in their surrounding water. This shape-shifting habit is one of the most extreme sexual dimorphisms known in vertebrates. What's even worse is they are very rare, and their typical red color is another thing that makes them even more special. 4. Real-life SpongeBob and his friend Patrick. If you're a fan of Nickelodeon, then SpongeBob SquarePants should not be a new concept to you. But everything in the cartoon series is just fiction, and SpongeBob is far from real, right? Well, on July 30th, 2021, a team of marine researchers spotted this yellow sea sponge off the east coast of the United States. According to them, this animal popped up while mapping the U.S. part of the Atlantic Ocean using a deep-sea robotic vehicle. At about 124 feet below the surface, they captured several videos for analysis. While analyzing, Christopher Ma, one of the researchers, spotted the sea sponge and a pink sea star and quickly shared the image on Twitter. Of course, the Twitter community rapidly likened the combo to Patrick and SpongeBob from Nickelodeon. However, these are real, and out there, we have about 8,500 million species of sponges that have lived underwater for 600 million years plus. But despite their number, none of them is square-shaped like Bob, which is why this discovery shocked many people worldwide. 3. Theodore Marilyn Collection of Cryptids. Only a few people agree on the existence of supernatural creatures like fairies, werewolves, and vampires. But a shocking discovery in 2006 will cause even the most unyielding mind to waver a little. That year, a group of suburban workers stumbled upon an old mansion that used to belong to a man named Thomas Theodore Marilyn. In the old basement, they came across several peculiar wooden boxes. On opening the boxes, the workers found the mummified remains and skeletons of creatures we now call cryptids, creatures that are thought to be mythological and yet to be discovered by science. By that, we mean the skeletons of fairies, werewolves, dragons, and a few other creatures that were quite difficult to describe. Since the discovery, the collection has sparked an animated debate between naturalists, scientists, and conspiracy theorists. While some factions truly believe that the find will forever change science, others dismiss it as an elaborate hoax. But the bigger question is, what were those boxes doing in the basement? And what kind of man was Maryland to have such a collection? Well, we may never know. 2. The Spinning Pharaoh. If there's anything we learned from Indiana Jones and all other adventure movies, it's that there's always something fishy and mysterious about anything that comes from Egypt. Take the Great Pyramids and the coffins of Serapeum, for example, and you'll see where we're going here. So when news came that an ancient Egyptian statuette in the Manchester Museum, of all places, suddenly began to move on its own, people immediately started thinking about curses and Pandora's box. Anyway, the moving statue was caught on camera and in the video provided by the museum itself. We see how that small 10-inch statue turned on its own, probably to turn away from the visitors that keep looking at it. According to the museum employees, the statue was enclosed in sealed glass, yet it would turn its back on people in the day and face back at night when everyone is gone. After they noticed this, they set up a camera to capture the mystery. But is this mysterious motion truly caused by a curse? Well, experts say no, that it rather moves due to vibration from buses and footsteps in the street nearby. But it's still kind of spooky, though, especially when you think about the fact that the pharaoh statue was the only one responding to footsteps among thousands of others in the museum. One, a see-through skull. This creature you see is called a barrel-eye fish. It is found in some of the deepest portions of the world's oceans, and that makes it one of the rarest creatures on Earth. Before 2004, nobody knew of their existence until this footage was recorded off the central coast of Monterey Bay in California. As you can see, these fish have transparent head, which at first glance appears like the cockpit of a fighter jet. Only when you look more closely would you realize that you're looking through an animal's head. Like all deep-sea creatures, barrel-eye fish can produce their own light. Although in their case, they concentrate the light on their transparent head. On this head, you'll also see their barrel-like eyes with green orbit-like lenses. And that's about everything we know about these elusive creatures because this footage is the only complete specimen of the barrel-eye fish ever caught. Before now, all other specimens were either damaged or without the transparent dome intact. See you soon!